So here we are outside, and what I want to do now is take the last exercise, which was the mindfulness senses exercise that we were doing inside, where we were focusing on what we could see, what we could hear, what we could smell, what we could taste and what we could touch, and we're going to bring that out into the natural environment. It might be that you don't have a beautiful forest like this on your doorstep, and that's okay. You can do this just in your local street or just in your own garden, even just like focusing on the kind of like the floor in front of you, the road, the bricks, everything, just really coming into the felt sense awareness. And so here, just in terms of what we can see, so looking here, there are some absolutely beautiful trees and the way that the light is falling on them. But it's the kind of thing that when we're walking through the forest, you may just not even take the time to stop and notice because we're so busy focused on our thoughts and what's going on in our head. Like here, for example, on this video, I'm talking to you, so you're listening to me. But actually what's behind me and what's around me is way more interesting. And sometimes we can go for a walk with a friend and we end up talking the whole way through. And when you actually get back and it's like, well, what did we actually see out in the woods, the forest, wherever we were walking? The answer is that you didn't really pay much attention. So now what I'd like you to do is to really get outside and really pay attention to the things that you can see, the things that you can hear, the things that you can smell, the things that you can taste, being careful of course in the outdoor environment as to what you go picking up and tasting, and also touch. So we're just going to take a little walk now, and I'm going to draw your attention to some things that I can see out here in this environment. So mindful walking is really slow, so we're not going to be going on a 5-mile hike here or anything. We're literally just really slowing down and really paying attention. So even looking down at some of the things here on the floor, it doesn't always have to be the big stuff or the particularly exciting or interesting things. So this is a stick, it's just a simple stick that's on the ground here. But again, going back to some of the other mindfulness exercises we've done, just looking at the detail of this twig, wondering where it's come from, which tree, how long it's been here. Looking at all the little markings, looking at the wrinkles here on the bark. Just paying attention to all these little details around us, which really connect us back into the here and now. And into that calm place, where again we've told the brain that there's obviously nothing to worry about because we can focus on something like this. And so also hear sounds. So I'm stood here in this beautiful forest and I can hear some really lovely sounds of some birds. Don't know whether that will come across here, but I can just hear little birds tweeting, and as I'm looking for them, trying to find where are they, what are they, I was noticing just now that they're little blue tits, and so there's a really little family of blue tits around here somewhere that are flitting around and making noise. And you can probably also hear the rumbling of some machinery. So yeah, this is a beautiful forest, the Forest of Dean is amazing, but there are quarries really nearby here, and I can actually hear all that machinery. And rather than judging that or being all kind of in my head about, oh, I'm in a forest, it should be like this or it should be like that, mindfulness is just about observing what is. And there are people making noises with machinery, but just tuning into that and thinking, I wonder how many people are down there, what they're working on, what they're quarrying, and just really just being aware and mindful of it. And so now we're going to move to the sense of smell, and so we're going to carry on down here, just noticing kind of what we can smell as we're walking through this natural environment. You may not be in the woods, but wherever you are, what can you smell? I've actually done mindfulness exercises before, stood by a skip, and actually the smell that was coming off was beer and cigarettes. But again, it's about not having judgment, it's about simply observing. And so smelling here, there's a general kind of woodland smell. But if I was to stop again and come down to the floor and pick up some leaf litter, oh, there's a really strong smell from this that again, walking through the forest normally, you just wouldn't even think to stop and notice, but there's like a mustiness, a real earthiness, and there's that realization that this general smell that's in the air is actually a combination of all these little smells that are around us. And so carrying on, taste, we did again when we were inside doing taste, and it's difficult, I don't really want you to go starting eating leaf litter or anything like that, but just again, how does your mouth taste? How, as you're walking, and I suppose we're generating sweat as we're moving a little bit, is there a difference in the taste on your lip? And then touch again, so here's a perfect example, just straight there. Again, the kind of thing that you could just walk straight past. Here we've got moss on a stone. And in a way, it looked like it was going to be really soft, and it's not actually quite as soft as I was expecting it to be. And then the stone, how that feels next to the moss, and the contrast of the two different feelings. So what I invite you to do is to probably take about 5 minutes where you're in the forest, in your natural environment, or even just in your garden or on your local street, and you really focus on sight. So you're looking at all the different things you can see. So not just one thing, not just honing in on something, but looking at all the things, noticing, for example, the bark on the trees, the way the light is coming through, what's underneath your feet, even kind of like the way that your own hands look, you know, so really being involved in what you can see, and then coming down to what you can hear. What can you hear around you? Trying to name maybe even 5 or 6 different things that you can hear. And then same with smell. Try and find a few different things. Go up to things and just wonder what they smell like. Flowers are amazing for this, obviously, but it doesn't have to just be flowers. It could be just natural environment, or it could even be just something like a skip or a bin or something like that. It's really just to activate that sense of smell. Taste, again, a little bit tricky in the natural environment, but if you're at home and maybe you take a bar of chocolate with you or something, you could actually use that as an example. And then touch again, so just walking gently through and maybe feeling the bark, maybe picking up some stuff from the floor, and there's even again the touch of our own skin. So I invite you now to get yourself dressed up warmly and to head outside and to try to spend at least half an hour or longer if you can, maybe an hour, maybe even a couple of hours if you have the time, to really explore an area outside, focusing into your senses in turn, starting with sight again, and then with hearing, with smell, with taste, and with touch.